Good morning, my beloved community, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Ukiah. I'm so happy that you joined us. I'm so happy to be here, and I know that somewhere in the service, whether it's in Reverend Eileen's message, whether it's in Madge's beautiful music, or whether it's in the treatment, you will find exactly what you're looking for. So just sit back and relax, and we'll start with our opening treatment. So take a deep breath. Just center yourself right here and right now, and know that there is only one thing, and that thing is God, and that thing is good. It moves within us, around us, and with us always. We are never apart from it. The only time we ever feel any separation is when we are not intentionally remembering that. And so that's what we come here for this morning, and it is glorious. It's what moves us through the rest of our day. It's what moves us through the rest of our week, and it's actually what takes us through our lives. It's the beauty, the wisdom, the joy, the love that comes directly from Source. And so when we tap into that, everything in our lives reflects that beauty, joy, wisdom, and love. So for that, I am grateful. I am so happy that that is the truth of who we are. And as we open our minds, we open our consciousness, we open up to all of the beauty that this service has to bring us, it moves us forward. It moves us forward individually, it moves us forward as a group, and it moves the entire universe forward. So yay, I am happy that we are all here participating in that. And I release this to the one mind, knowing that it already has been acted on. And together we claim it by saying, and so it is. And so now we're going to have our beloved Madge Strong, who has been with us for years and years, and we're always so happy to have you. So Madge, unmute yourself and play us in.
Okay, thank you. Well, I thought I'd start with Autumn Leaves since it is feeling so autumnal right now. And even though this is, the words are more about romantic love and loss, it's really for every loss and every transition that we go through. So think of it more universal than just a romantic love song. And I start in French and then I'll do it in English too. C'est une chanson qui nous rassemble et je t'aime et toi tu m'aimes. Nous vivions tous les deux ensemble et je t'aime et toi tu m'aimes. Mais la vie sépare ceux qui s'aiment tout doucement sans faire de bruit et la mer s'efface sur les sables quand les pas des amants désunis. The autumn leaves drift by my window. The autumn leaves of red and gold. I see your face, the summer kisses, the sunburned hair since you went away, the days grow long, but now I see all winter's come. But I miss you most of all, my darling. When autumn leaves start to fall.
Mm.
Thank you.
Madge, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. So now I would like to introduce to you our guest speaker, Reverend Eileen Brownell. Many of us know Reverend Eileen. She has been a guest speaker with us many times. She also came and helped us with our new minister co-creation process in February of 2019. So it's been a while since we have heard from her. Really happy that she's with us this morning. Well, let me give you a little background on Reverend Eileen. She is a staff minister for the Chico Center for Spiritual Living. She is one of only 7 ministers that do the new minister co-creation process. Her deepest joy comes from helping others. She serves as the Chico Police Chaplain. She has served as the Chico Police Chaplain since 2007. While the work is challenging, Reverend Eileen feels called to help others during times of great difficulty, trauma, and sorrow. She also works with individuals who are dying and their families. Reverend Eileen knew at age 6 that she wanted to be a minister. She waited, however, until discovering religious science and then knew that this is where she belongs. Reverend Eileen is an avid student, writer, and author, and a wonderful speaker, by the way, that you will discover. So thank you, Reverend Eileen, for being with us. Please take it away.
Thank you, Gail. And Matt, Marge or Madge, you couldn't have picked a better song because I'm going to talk a little bit about loss this morning. And so it was like, the synchronicity between Spirit and you and the lesson that we're going to hear this morning, or I'm going to give. It fascinated me, and it's so great, Ukiah, to be back with you. It's been since February of 19, and I always love to come over and be with you folks. So I hope we don't have to wait quite so long for the next time. In the last year, I have lost 4 close and very dear friends. And I know that at my age, this is part of our process that people begin to transition and move on in life. After all, I'm not in my 40s anymore, so it's very typical that, this would transpire and this would happen. Bob was a college friend married to another college friend. We were each in each other's weddings. We shared vacations together, and he loved to discuss religion. Why? Because he was an atheist. So he would love to corner me on philosophy and religion and have those discussions. We had been friends for over 55 years when he died of Parkinson's disease. Helen was a former member of our center, and when she moved away several years ago, we continued to keep track of each other via Christmas cards and emails, and we always exchanged jokes with each other, and I can still hear her laugh that came from the core of her very being. I miss that laugh. Danny was a student when he walked into my class at Cal State Long Beach for a recreation program. It was a required student for the majors back then. We became friends and we skied together, we camped together, and ultimately Danny worked for me in Parks and Recreation. We never ever quite got the chance to go fishing together, which was something that we both loved to do. We had a fishing trip scheduled with 2 other friends, and he died 2 weeks before we made it. We had known each other for over 45 years. I became close to John when he married one of my best friends, Roylene. And we spent many an evening over a delightful bottle of wine and a delicious meal discussing the state of politics in America, meaning of Native American spiritualities, totems, and symbols. It was something that we were both interested in and that we shared. His death was unexpected and was quick. Only moments were left for my girlfriend, his wife, to say goodbye, as well as his children and his grandchildren. We had known each other for over 35 years. All of these friends left a big hole in my world, as well as those who loved them. Each of them reminded me of the Daniel Niedmond music or song, The Last Song. All of them had made an incredible difference within their profession and in the world in their own special way. Were they famous? Were they well known? No. But to me and to those who loved them, they were special, and I truly miss each of them. You're probably wondering why I'm talking or speaking of death in this Sunday lesson that is entitled Finding the Sacred in the Ordinary. Excuse me. The answer to that is really quite simple. We never lose our oneness with God or others, even when we cannot see them. Even when they have transitioned from this planet Earth, after all, death cannot contain God, and so how can it contain our loved ones? We need only remember the story of Easter to be reminded that the individuals we love go on living within each and every one of us. Any of us who have lost a dear one knows when they are very near. I'm often reminded of the movie Ghost, where Demi Moore is sitting on the floor watching a penny rise up on the door. And it's actually her deceased husband, Patrick Swayze, who is moving it up, and she knows instinctively that he is there with her, protecting her, loving her, and being with her. She can't see him, but she knows he's there. My brother Ken passed at the Christmas of 1991. Our entire family was challenged by his passing. Several years later, feathers kept appearing in strange places at odd times. And perplexed, I questioned out loud the constant appearance of feathers at a Selamar at our church conference one year. Without missing a beat, a fellow practitioner looked at me and said, "Why, it's your brother, Eileen, sending you love and watching over you." I was amazed from that point forward when feathers would show up in my life. And most of the time, it is when I needed reassurance or in moments of challenge or sorrow. He always knows when to come. Just like God is always there when we least expect her, she has never, ever left us. We need only a gentle nudge to be reminded that God is there. I'm here. I am one with you in this sacred space and place. It is our choice whether we fall into the divine embrace or completely and totally ignore it. I believe that love is very much a part of oneness. Ralph Waldo Trine stated, "When we fully realize the great fact of the oneness of all life, that all are partakers from this one infinite source, and so the same life is the life in each individual, then prejudices go and hatred ceased. Love grows and reigns supreme." Oneness is an intimacy like no other that we have ever experienced. Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind text states, "This is the perception that Buddha, Jesus, and other great spiritual leaders had. They understood that the universe has to be one in order to be at all. Jesus said, who hath seen me hath seen the Father." Jesus had arrived at a perception of oneness. What we must understand is that oneness does not stop when someone passes or is not with us. In fact, it is strengthened because we embrace our oneness in a new way. They are no longer here physically, but they are ever so deep within us. Often, when I speak of oneness, I am reminded of the story of a Cherokee boy when he becomes a man. Now, well, the father establishes and decides when the son is ready to become a man. And at that point, he takes him deep into the woods to a designated stump, and he has the boy get up on the stump, and he puts a blindfold on him, and he tells him that he must stay there all night long with the blindfold on. Without speaking out, without crying out, without moving. It is his task to prove to the world by staying there in the coming hours by himself without being able to see anything. Now, what the boy doesn't realize is and also he can't tell anybody that this is the process that he's going through, because other young men will come behind him and will also go through the same process. And of course, every sound, every twig, every brush of the the wind that moves him, that comes by him, or the howl of the wolf, he's scared. He's afraid of what's transpiring at that point. And in early morning, when the sun begins to shine, and he can lightly see the sunlight coming through his blindfold, he takes it off. He's allowed to take it off at that point. And so he takes it off. And there he sees his father seated before him, who had stayed awake and watched him all night long. He thought he was alone, but he was never separate from his God, from his father. We too are never alone or separate from God. God is always within, sitting on the stump beside us. And of course, the moral of the story is just because you can't see God doesn't mean he's not there. So what is oneness? Simply put, it means that there is no separation from God, each other, or all things in the universe. Recently, I went on a camping trip with a group of friends. Someone asked me what I was working on, and I indicated this lesson, and they wanted to know the title. And so the next question, obviously, from one of the guys was, so what is oneness? My own personal beliefs are that oneness is not just our intimacy with God and others. It includes qualities of God, such as forgiveness. There would be no oneness without loving kindness and compassion. Oneness is knowing and understanding another person's pain without judgment and a need to fix it. Living in oneness is letting go of our duality with others. It is gratitude for our intertwining nature with others. About that time, someone said, look, and pointed up to the sky, and there were 3 ospreys circling on 3 different levels. It was as if they were a team in search of food. As we stood there and stared into the trees and into the sky with the wonder, I told others that this was the perfect example of oneness. The osprey were one with each other, and one with us, and one with nature and their surroundings. In 1 Corinthians 6:7, we are told that he who unites himself with our Lord becomes one with him in spirit. This concept of oneness is certainly not new. That was written almost 2,000 years ago. According to Sensei Kikuyu, in an article about the teaching of Buddhist oneness, he writes, oneness is a teaching that states all living beings live in the same pot. And I just kind of giggle when I think about that pot, that we're all in that pot together. We share the same roots, and what benefits one naturally benefits all of us. Similarly, what hurts one of us hurts all of us. So we must practice right mindfulness and use our inner wisdom in daily life. If we don't, the results will be disastrous. For example, if they came through and cut out all the trees in my neighborhood, we would have a struggle with our air quality and we would suffer in our breathing. If we poisoned our rivers, then we'd struggle to find clean drinking water. Of course, we still have our individuality. The river is the river and the tree is the trees. And we're still human beings living seemingly separate lives. But if looking beneath the surface, we see the oneness of all things, then we understand that our well-being is tied to the rivers and the trees and the people around us. So we care for them just like we care for ourselves. It's a simple reminder that when we harm others or Mother Earth, we harm ourselves. When we fail to recycle, for example, we harm the environment. When we don't pick up a piece of trash, we're failing to honor Mother Earth. When we use the drive-through at the fast food outlet, we contribute to the drought as our car idles emissions into the air. There are so many connections in our oneness with God and each other and our surroundings and Mother Earth. There's an intimacy with the divine when we come to realize and embrace our oneness. We've all heard the definition of intimacy, into me I see. Oneness is seeing into ourselves and not being afraid to see all the farbles that God sees. In our oneness with God, we come to a place of acceptance of ourselves through the knowledge that she isn't done with us quite yet, and that we are perfect in this moment the way we are. Oneness is about having the courage to accept ourselves and others just as God does. Spirit has never, ever left us, but we have left ourselves when we look within and are afraid of what we see within ourselves. Oneness is working from the inward outward, not outward inward. What happens outside of us must just be the nudge that forces us to move to a deeper place of oneness, to grow, to forgive, and to heal. And knowing ourselves at a greater and deeper level, we come to a place of knowing the divine at a greater depth than ever before. Why do you suppose finding our oneness with God and others is so difficult? Simply put, it is us and our thought process that prevents it. In an article by Matteo Sol, he tells us while our minds help us to plan, imagine, create, structure, and logically understand life, they also simultaneously fragment our existence. You see, when we take our life and we break it down into thoughts and concepts and ideas and beliefs, we cannot directly experience the oneness of everything. Instead, we're perceiving life through a set of broken glasses. Until we can take off those cracked or broken glasses, we will continue to see ourselves as isolated and as separate from all the entities that we have in the world, as well as we'll see things only in black and white. It's like the rock tumbler effect. If you've never seen a rock tumbler, it's a small machine and it has a long cylinder on it. And it's in this cylinder, they place rocks that are unpolished with a little water and with an abrasive sand, and they turn it on electrically, and the tumbler turns and turns and turns, and that goes on for about a week. And you open it back up and you take everything out, you wipe it off, you change the water, you change the abrasive sand in it, and you start the process all over again. And this process can go on for several weeks of washing, of tumbling, of changing the sand and starting all over again. And ultimately, a highly polished stone is reborn. What begins as a rough and dull stone turns into something of beauty. What's important to remember is that all of the stones in the cylinder contribute to the polishing of each other. That's what our spiritual growth process is like. There are abrasive things that transpire in our life, like the loss of a loved one. We're forced into a tumbler we are not ready for, that we don't want to experience. We resist our pain, our anger, our frustration, and feel abandoned by spirit. And yet, God is always there within us, guiding our process. Oneness is not trying to get God to conform to our way of thinking and being. It is about us taking the responsibility to explore the very depths of ourselves. And in so doing, come to know our relationship in oneness is never ending and always growing, always deepening with ourselves, with others, and with the divine. There are many forms of inner work. Not all processes, however, focus on self-exploration, acceptance, and integration of our inner parts. While our path of choice can be slow, it can also be the deepest work that we can ever do. There are no quick fixes. To have more than a fleeting glimpse of oneness, we must make our unconscious conscious. And as luminary Carl Jung once said, wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of oneself, but by integration of the contraries. I want to leave you with a couple of readings today from sacred sources. The first is from the Gospel of Thomas. When you make the two one, and you make the inner as the outer and the above as below, and when you make the male and the female into a single one, then you shall enter the kingdom. And the second thought is from the Tao. How can the divine oneness be seen? In beautiful forms, breathtaking wonders, awe-inspiring miracles. The Tao is not obliged to present itself in this way. If you are willing to be lived by it, you will see it everywhere in the most ordinary of things. All of my friends and family who have gone before me continue to be one with me, just as God is. They're not far from my thoughts or from my heart. And indeed, I recognize him in the sacredness of the ordinary that surrounds me each and every day. This is the truth in my life, and this is the truth in yours. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Eileen. That was beautiful. Would you like to do the closing treatment? Harvey, is Reverend Eileen muted?
Mute. There we go. I'm sorry.
Yay. That's okay.
Thank you, Gail. And so breathing in the sacredness of the moment, knowing that God is all there is and that we are one with the divine, one with each other, and one that is all with us on Mother Earth. We step forth into this newness today to honor each other and to honor our surroundings, knowing that in the ordinary things, there is sacredness, and that has a profound effect upon our life. And so we give thanks for this day. We give thanks for this gathering. We give thanks for this spiritual community that continues to support each and every individual that steps forth and says, I am here, God, I am here. And so I just release this. I let it go in complete and total gratitude, knowing it is done. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Eileen.
You're more than welcome. I'm grateful to have been here with you.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you so much. And we don't want it to be another 3 years. You need to come back sooner.
I'd love to be back. It's nice to see all the faces, especially Dr. Candace.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Well, now it is time for our offering. Harvey, if you could put that up on the screen, we will say together. Divine love,
Love.
divine love through me blesses and multiplies this gift. With all my heart and with all my mind, I know that I am saying yes to something I value. With all others present here, we dedicate these gifts to the values and vision we share. And so it is. And thank you for participating in our offering. Without each and every one of your contributions, we would not be able to do this every Sunday. So thank you, everyone who contributes. There are many ways to do that. I'm not going to go over them because I think we all know them by now. So now I would like to, we don't really have very many announcements. We have our community tithe is going to now Mendocino Animal Shelter. But we are still encouraging everyone to give to Building Bridges. You can take it to them directly. They will come and get it from your car, or you can drop them off at Teresa Staver's house. Either one works. Thank you, all of you, for coming with us, for being here with us today. Our service next Sunday, our speaker will be Gina Krupka. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure if Gina is a reverend or not. She can make sure we understand that when she speaks next Sunday. And our soloist will be Mary, not Mary Cooper, Mary Barkley. I got my Marys confused there for a moment. So thank you, all of you, for joining us today. If you would like to stick around and have a little conversation after, that would be wonderful. And Madge will sing us out now.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I
Yes?
said Mary Barkley. I was having a really hard time bringing up Mary Buckley's name.
Okay.
Thank
That
you,
didn't
Madge.
sound quite right.
It didn't sound right to me either, but I just couldn't pull it out. So thank you,
Okay,
Madge, for singing us out.
I'm going to try to, if I can here, yes, there we go, into the chat are the words to this song, because this is definitely one that I encourage you to sing along on. And it also totally goes with the theme that Eileen brought us today, and with the fact that at this time of year, it's honoring our ancestors and those who have passed and those who are still with us, because even those who have passed are still with us. We carry them all. And so this song by Harmony Grissman is called Ancestors, and please sing along. Are there people in the church so they wouldn't have seen the chat? Should I just mention these words first?
Yes, I can. I have it on visible.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so they're very simple. It's a very simple and meditative song, so we'll do it, I don't know, at least 3 times anyway. Sorry. Ancestors, sky people, all here today, hear my heart's song, hear my respect, hear my love, hear my grateful tears fall. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed. Ancestors, sky people, all here today, hear my heart's song, hear my respect, hear my love, hear my grateful tears fall. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed. We ancestors, sky people, all here today. Hear my heart's song, hear my respect, hear my love, hear my grateful tears fall. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed. Let's do it one more time and think of all your ancestors. Ancestors, sky people, all here today. Hear my heart's song, hear my respect, hear my love, hear my grateful tears fall. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed. We are truly blessed.
Thank you, Madge. Both of those songs were absolutely beautiful and perfect for the time of year. So thank you to everyone. If you would like to unmute yourselves now, we can do a little visiting.